pain keeps you from doing what you love, Hoag Orthopedic Institute gets you back to you. Visit HoagOrthopedicInstitute.com to get the help you need today.
Lakers talk is on. Here's Andy Kamenetzky.
What is up, Laker fans? Andy Kamenetzky, Lakers Talk, ESPN LA 710. Thank you, as always, for being here most Monday nights, 6 to 8 p.m., with occasional migrations depending on what is going on with, say, the Rams or LA Kings. A reminder for those unaware, we are the home of the Kings now, or occasionally the Lakers, who are playing more Monday night games than I can remember.
And you know what? We have a conflict next week with the Lakers and the Rams at the same time.
Wow.
Playoffs.
Whoa. That's going to be – it's going to be a lot for Bergman and Morales and all those guys to figure out.
It's going to be a lot in L.A., too, because it's going to be a Rams home game and it's going to be a Laker home game.
Well, that's why those guys get the big bucks, to figure out those conflicts. But we are here now. Thank you very much for being here. Thanks to everybody who is in the Lakers Talk chat right now. I will be monitoring comments, so make sure you leave questions, leave thoughts that you got, whatever. Also, hit me up on Twitter, at Cam Brothers. Got two great guests coming up. First, 6:30, Adam Armbrecht from Locked On Nets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where you can also listen to Locked On Lakers. Available 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, always free, never behind a paywall. And for the sickos who like to watch, there is a YouTube component. By the way, you can also watch Adam on YouTube. He's a handsome man. And we're going to get a scouting report on Dorian Finney-Smith, who many Laker fans and even some Lakers media are calling to enter the starting lineup ASAP. Going to talk with Adam about him. Also a little Shake Milton talk. Then at 7:15, Eric Pincus, NBA cap expert and NBA writer for Bleacher Report. He's covered the league and the Lakers for a long time. He's got a new piece up on Bleacher Report about a trade idea, emphasis idea, not a rumor, an idea for the Lakers, but it's a big deal, big idea. 8 players, a lot of draft picks moving around. He's going to break that down and other things he's hearing about the trade market in general. We are officially 1 month away from the NBA trade deadline on February 6th. So, again, that's coming up at 7:15. The Lakers are going to be in Dallas tomorrow night for a game against the Luka-less and now Kyrie-less Mavericks. Mavericks are 0-3 this season without both of those stars, but the Lakers need to make sure that they stay focused, don't look ahead to anything, because they are fresh off a very frustrating loss last night in Houston, 119-115 to the Rockets. It was a game that showed, I thought, how the Lakers are capable of hanging, even with some of the West best that are more athletic than them, younger than them, faster than them, which is definitely the case with the Houston Rockets, but also how the Lakers have not reached a place yet where they have any real margin for error, even sitting 5 games above 500, even having won, I believe, 8 of their last 12. They are still a team that does not have a big cushion for mistakes, and that was put on display both early and late in this game. And look, there were some positives in this loss. Austin Reeves had 21 points, and more notable to me, 10 assists against no turnovers. And this is huge for a guy that has struggled at times with taking care of the ball, particularly against athletic defenses, athletic players, having more ball handling responsibilities put on his plate. So I thought that was great from Austin. Anthony Davis, 30 points, 13 rebounds, 5 blocks. Max Christie, 14 points, 6 rebounds. He keeps getting the line. Dorian Finney-Smith, 13 points off the bench. For now, off the bench. More on that later. And the Lakers were the better overall team in the second half of this game for about 46 minutes and change. But early and late execution and energy were too big of issues for the Lakers to overcome. They fell down as much as 22 points last night in Houston. They were down 18 at the half, and they played the opening 24 minutes like they'd either been engaging in undefeated Houston nightlife, or they got a little caught up in some of the hype surrounding this team's new defensive identity.
Maybe they just had some bad barbecue.
I don't know if there's such a thing as bad barbecue in Houston, man. It's pretty damn good. It is. It's a good place to get yourself some barbecue. But they were really, really just lethargic, I thought, in a lot of ways. Just their overall energy in the first half of this game against Houston was terrible, even defensively, which has been like the real uptick for them of late. They were terrible getting back in transition, which is brutal against a team like Houston that's young and athletic. They were pushing tempo basically off every Laker miss, sometimes off Laker makes. The Lakers didn't turn the ball over, but Houston did their best to run it out every single time they did. And the Lakers took too long to just match that gear. Jalen Green, who's been a very inconsistent scorer and especially an inconsistent shooter, he had 18 first-quarter points, 18, 12 of which came after Max Christie checked out. Like, he just went on a run in, like, the last 4 or so minutes of the game, absolutely cooking the Lakers. I also thought the Lakers did a bad job capitalizing on Jalen Green getting into early foul trouble and foul trouble throughout the game, and it just did not feel like the Lakers put the onus on Jalen Green, a young and sometimes wild player, to either have to defend or concede the defense because he didn't want to pick up an extra foul out, compromise the Houston's defense. And I just thought it was bad overall awareness by the Lakers. They got crushed on the glass in the first half of this game. Houston had 11 offensive rebounds in the first half alone. Amon Thompson had 4 by himself. That equaled the Lakers' total for the first half. They had double-digit points, Houston. The Lakers, 0 second-chance points in the first half. J.J. Redick said that, quote, our inability to get defensive rebounds was the difference in this game. And I don't think it's the only thing, but it was definitely a big factor. But then after halftime, the Lakers were a totally different, more engaged, more active team. I thought J.J. Redick made a very interesting substitution where he put Dorian Finney-Smith in for Rui less than a minute into the third quarter. He said afterwards he was just trying to give Rui a quick mental break, that Rui didn't do anything wrong, that he thought Rui played well from there. And I think it's actually correct, but curious about what this means moving forward. That is something we're definitely going to talk about. Put a pin in that for a second. The Lakers held Houston to under 40% from both the field and behind the arc in the second half. They shot 49% from the field, 52% from behind the arc. Anthony Davis, 22 points in that second half. LeBron, 16, 7, and 5. Every starter and Dorian Finney-Smith was a positive in the plus-minus for the second half. The Lakers won the rebounding battle despite the hulking huge presence of Steven Adams in the second half, 25-21. The offensive rebound count was basically a wash. And look, you could look at the second half reaction, that response, as a positive in and of itself, because it was a sign that, especially since a game like Miami, where the Lakers just allowed themselves to get their asses kicked by 40, that this is a group that is looking to fight, and that's great. And they damn near pulled off a win, and I do think it says something about their resolve. And J.J. Redick talking about wanting this to be a great team. He wants to coach a great team. And LeBron said after last night's loss, quote, I want to be a great team, but it takes some things that may get uncomfortable out there. We've got to do a little more, be a little more gritty, make more plays, not have so many breakdowns. We've got to be a lot better. And part of being a lot better, too, includes the end of games. And the Lakers suffered a breakdown in the last minute of this 119-115 loss to the Rockets that I think illustrated how being better can be a thing that involves everybody top to bottom. So get into that coming up next. Also, the question of Dorian Finney-Smith and Rui Hachimura and the starting lineup. Going to talk about all that coming up next. Lakers Talk, Andy Kamenetzky, ESPN LA 710.
Just like the Lakers have a game plan on the court, you should have a Go Safely game plan off the court. If you plan to drink, plan for a designated sober driver. If you're the designated sober driver, move over a lane when you see amber flashing lights on Caltrans, law enforcement, or other emergency vehicles or tow trucks. If you can't move over safely, slow down and be work zone alert. Go safely, California, from the California Office of Traffic Safety and Caltrans.
Hey, it's Bethel Duran. When you get into an auto collision and damage your vehicle, there's only one spot for you to call. That's my guy Leo at Active Collision. Experienced paint and body technicians will make your car look like it's brand new. You get a free estimate when you call 626-330-0100. They work with all insurance companies. Mention 710 and you get 50% off your insurance deductible. Call 626-330-0100, 626-330-0100, or visit activecollisionrepair.com.
ESPN LA and Beverly Hills Orthodontics are teaming up because we want to know who's smiling in SoCal. Go to ESPNLA.com and nominate who you think is making LA a better place. This can be a mentor, a teacher, a coach, a good Samaritan, a youngster who brightens your day. Tell us who's smiling and you could win some awesome prizes like sweet tickets from ESPN LA, Sonic Care electric toothbrushes, whitening treatment, and a grand prize of Invisalign from Beverly Hills Ortho. Enter now at ESPNLA.com and remember you're always smiling at Beverly Hills Orthodontics.
Once upon a time, our family had trouble with pests around our home. Did you know that stinging insects send tons of people to the hospital? And teeny ticks and mosquitoes can be all around the yard. Their bites can make people and their pets sick. Mice, rats, and roaches need food and water just like us. You do not want them to visit. They can spread disease and make it hard to breathe. I'm sure glad this story has a happy ending.
Learn how to protect your family at pestworld.org. A public service message from the National Pest Management Association.
Robinhood Gold members can now enjoy the VIP treatment, receiving a 3% IRA match on annual retirement contributions. With Robinhood Gold, the perks of the high net worth are now available for any net worth. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. To receive a 3% boost on annual IRA contributions, sign up at Robinhood.com/gold.
Investing involves risk. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold at $5 a month for 1 year from first match. Must keep funds in IRA for 5 years. Go to Robinhood.com/boost. Robinhood Financial LLC member SIPC. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC.
Time out. Your body goals don't have an off season. GNC is ready to help you get a stronger start on the new year with help building more muscle and proven weight loss support. Need a boost? We're ready with GNC vitamins for your longest winter days. Want the best energy drinks? They're at GNC. Never tried creatine before? Get ready to be amazed. GNC coaches are ready to help you in stores everywhere, and you can shop our full collection of flavors and online exclusives at GNC.com. GNC, live well.
All the latest surrounding the Lake Show, right here on Lakers Talk with Andy Kamenetzky.
Anthony Davis and the Lakers put up a fight in Houston last night, but not even 30 points from AD was enough to take down the Rockets.
We couldn't make a shot. They were making everything, to start. Our game plan discipline wasn't there early, so it was really on us. It was on our players that, not following the game plan, which kind of got them going.
Lakers Talk is presented by Hoag Orthopedic Institute. When pain keeps you from doing what you love, Hoag Orthopedic Institute gets you back to you. Visit HoagOrthopedicInstitute.com to get the help you need today.
Now back to Lakers Talk with Andy Kamenetzky.
It's one of my all-time favorite Bob Marley songs. Love this song. It's on the album Kaya. Great song. Sun is shining.
This is a DeAndre Hawkins production, too. He thought of it.
Love this song.
He gave him no direction to play this.
This reminds me of high school. Andy Kamenetzky, Lakers Talk, ESPN LA 710. We're going to be joined about 15 minutes by Adam Armbrecht from Locked On Nets. Going to get a scouting report on Dorian Finney-Smith, who Adam watched for about 2 seasons over a few years with Brooklyn. Going to get an idea of what he does on both sides of the ball. Also talk a little Shake Milton. And in about an hour, we're going to talk with Eric Pincus from Bleacher Report about the trade market over the next month and what it could possibly provide for the Lakers. Real quick, though, Peter in Ontario has a pretty radical trade idea, it would appear. Peter, what's up, man?
Hey, how you doing, man?
Good.
Yeah, I know I'm gonna sound crazy. I know I am, but I think we've been stuck in, I guess, in the medium. Not a great team to compete for a championship, but not bad enough to stay in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
I think we need to trade I know it's crazy. LeBron, he's playing great, by the way.
Sure.
But he's not going to take us to the promised line. I hate to say it. I really do.
Well, I mean,
so if we get some – go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, I mean, you're aware he has a no-trade clause, right?
No, I understand. But if you could trade him to a team that's on the brink of winning a championship, let's just say Oklahoma. They have a lot of draft picks.
I'm going to tell you right now.
I don't know.
LeBron James is saying no to going to Oklahoma City. Like, I'm telling you that right now. Peter?
Yeah, I understand. I just think we're just stuck, to be honest.
Well, I appreciate the call. I mean,
and plus they're not emptying out the cupboard, for them too. For LeBron
first of all, I don't even know if OKC has like enough stackable contracts to equal LeBron's money. Like, I don't know.
Don't they have cap space though? No,
I don't know.
No.
I mean,
I'll take some of their guys though.
Yeah.
No. I mean, look, if this was
some of their guys, yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. If like Jalen Williams and like some of these other guys, you got to at least think about it. But I mean, it's a non-starter because again, I cannot emphasize this enough. LeBron is not going to Oklahoma City. I have no sourcing on this. I just feel confident stating this as an out-and-out fact. If it turns out I'm wrong, y'all know where to find me. But I would be absolutely stunned were that to happen. So I was talking about how last night's 119-115 loss to the Rockets in Houston showed the potential of this Lakers team when they are fully committed and engaged, but also how they need to be better in a lot of different ways, whether you're talking about just the way they approach a game from the jump and being in the right headspace, attacking with the right energy, but also late execution. And case in point, 7.1 seconds left in the game. Alperen Sengun misses a second free throw, and the Lakers get the rebound. They're now down 118-115, call timeout. J.J. Redick draws up a play that involves Max Christie inbounding, something that Max Christie doesn't do much of. There's been a few times in the past where Christie's done it, and he has not looked comfortable, in my observation, doing it. And in this sequence, he can't find a path to getting the ball to LeBron. He's very fixed on LeBron, really not looking in any other direction, and up against a 5-second violation, but also with a timeout remaining. Max Christie, I think, kind of panics and throws a bad pass to LeBron that gets intercepted by Fred VanVleet. LeBron had been trying to call timeout, but the refs didn't see it. Fred VanVleet gets fouled, makes one of two. The Lakers end up running another play where LeBron actually does get the ball this time. I want to say DFS inbounding, either DFS or Austin Reeves inbounding. LeBron gets the ball, makes a three, but Anthony Davis called for an illegal screen. It likely doesn't matter anyway, but Max, to his credit, said afterwards that it was on him to make a better decision, which would have been calling a timeout. It was not clarified whether JJ explicitly reminded everyone that they still had one remaining, but Max said, this is on me. I got to make a better, smarter decision, and I have no doubt Max will grow from this. But I would argue that J.J. Redick also, when we're talking about everybody needing to be better, J.J. needed to have a better inbounder, a more experienced inbounder triggering this play in the first place. Max is only in his first season getting real minutes and real responsibilities. Like, he's not a terrible passer, but he's not a great passer either. Like, full court vision is not really his specialty. Reading the floor is not really his specialty. I think he could have been on the floor as one of the three-point options. He made 2 threes in this game. He's been shooting well, but I don't think J.J. Redick put Max Christie or, by extension, the team in the best position to succeed. So it's a reminder of how everyone needs to do better top to bottom. Also, though, speaking of Redick's decisions, there was a very interesting one in the third quarter, less than a minute in. JJ substitutes Dorian Finney-Smith into the game for Rui Hachimura. He said afterwards that he wanted to give Rui a mental break for a second. Those were his words. And he told Rui he didn't do anything wrong. And I thought Rui actually did play better in the second half once he eventually came back into this game. He still played about 28 minutes. And he had been offensively good in the first half. He had 10 points, 2 of 4 from 3. But defensively, he had been not great. And DFS was terrific in the second half of this game. 9 points, 2 assists, a rebound, and a steal. Hit a couple of threes. He converted an and one. And he showed off the defensive utility that we've seen from DFS since he arrived here from Brooklyn, and there's a vibe and an energy that he brings to the mix when he's on the floor. Very similar to what Jared Vanderbilt brings when he's out there. Like, in some ways, we'll talk about this a little bit later, DFS reminds me of a Vando that offensively you can't play off the floor. But they're similar players in a lot of ways in terms of just the defensive utility and that edge, that dog that DFS often describes himself as. And there have been a lot of Laker fans that I've seen, whether on Twitter at Cam Brothers or in the Locked on Lakers YouTube channel community section, talking about, and I've even seen Lakers media saying that J.J. Redick should flip-flop Dorian Finney-Smith and Rui in the lineup. You should just start Dorian Finney-Smith moving forward, play Rui off the bench. And it's feeling, first of all, like something that's kind of inevitable anyway. Like, Dorian has been playing more minutes. He's been closing games. He's been starting to be treated like he is a member of the starting lineup anyway. Like, he has a relationship and a familiarity with J.J. Redick from their brief time together as teammates in Dallas. J.J. loves DFS. Like, it's obvious that he loves what he brings to the table, that he trusts him as a player. And I feel like you can also make an argument that in a lot of ways, both the starting lineup and the bench units would be better served if this was flip-flopped. Like, that Rui, I think, actually makes a little more sense with the bench, and because they could use a pure scorer. That Dorian Finney-Smith actually would complement a little bit more what they were doing in the starting lineup with the outside shooting, but also the defensive versatility that you now have with Max Christie, Anthony Davis, and Dorian Finney-Smith as a potential foundation. I want to get a little bit more into that, but going to ask, want to hear from Eric in the 213. What's up, Eric?
What's up, Andy? First of all, with the whole JJ thing, in fact, I think there was, in the press conference, he was asked if he told Max that they had another timeout. I think he said he didn't. So even as a coach, you got to let your players know, especially a young guy, that you got another timeout.
Absolutely.
Call it if you
Absolutely.
need to call it. So with this whole, what we need is a center. That should have been addressed, in the off season. And to me, the ideal guy is Kessler. If you can bring in another guard like Sexton, that'll be great. But you see, when AD goes down, when he goes to the bench, all of a sudden, our rebounding, our interior defense just kind of goes to crap. So to me, obviously, that's what you need to do. De'Aaron Fox, I think you can wait another year. You're going to have to give up so many assets, especially a guy like AR. Now, to me, AR is not a guy you give up. For what he's getting paid, for the production that he's giving, you just don't give up a guy like that. There's a reason why.
Well, I mean, for what it's worth, though, Eric, and I agree with you. Insofar as, I don't know. If De'Aaron Fox was truly available, you got to at least consider giving up Reeves for him. Like, you have to at least consider it, because Reeves is good, but I think De'Aaron Fox is better. And the idea of just waiting for De'Aaron Fox to, finger quotes, inevitably join the Lakers. Ask the Lakers how that went with Paul George several years ago. Remember when everyone, they were clearing the runway for an eventual Paul George free agent signing. They didn't move Brandon Ingram to the Pacers because at the time they thought Paul George was so in the bag. Why give up BI if Paul George is coming anyway? Then Paul George ended up going to OKC. So the point being, you can't just count on these guys showing up.
Absolutely, but De'Aaron Fox just signed with Clutch. I don't know whether that's a precursor or not. But the devil's advocate is LeBron James. He's not getting any younger, so it's not like we got time to wait. So I can agree with bringing De'Aaron Fox right now. Now here's the one thing that I really want your take on, Andy, is Anthony Davis. From the jump, from the beginning of the season, it was clear that J.J. Redick wanted to make sure AD was going to be the focus, make sure he's going to be the hub. And it almost seemed like JJ said, AD, you are the best basketball player on the floor.
Absolutely.
Be that.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see how much it affected it made our team that much better when you saw AD being that guy.
Yep.
You know, and to me, all of a sudden, I think it might have been that Orlando game where he missed those 2 free throws. It almost seemed like after that game, he kind of regressed to the guy that's just fine to be the defensive dude. And look, I've always said AD is the best two-way player in the game. There's nobody in the game that does what he does both offensively and defensively, okay? But we brought him here to be the man. We brought him here to take the torch from LeBron. We brought him to be the number one guy on the championship team. And the mentality, now this is where I want your take, I just don't think he has that. He's not that guy. Like, he's not that guy to take over the game. He's not that guy to be that guy. Like, he's okay to be the Robin. He's not the guy to be the Batman. I want to see what your take is.
I appreciate the call there, Eric. I'm going to have to ask you to be patient for the take because I got a break, because coming up next, we're going to have Adam Armbrecht from Locked On Nets to give a scouting report on Dorian Finney-Smith and also Shake Milton. But I will get into this idea later on during the show about Anthony Davis and the mentality and whether or not he does possess what is needed to take that metaphorical torch from LeBron and truly be the guy for the Lakers. So that will be coming up, Eric. Appreciate the call. But coming up next, Adam Armbrecht from Locked On Nets. We are going to dive deep into Dorian Finney-Smith, what he brings to the table, talk a little Shake Milton. This is Lakers Talk. Andy Kamenetzky, ESPN LA 710.
Hey, it's Mace. NFL fans, big news. We've got a major shakeup here in town with the Los Angeles Rams. That's right, Rams bringing in some huge talent, and it didn't require any trades or clearing any salary cap space. The Rams have brought on the one and only Jacob Imrani as their chosen legal partner. So remember, Rams fans, when you're injured, call the chosen legal partner of your favorite team called Jacob.
Accident or injury, call Jacob and Ronnie. Call Jacob.
What's that sound? That's the sound of Downy Unstoppable scent beads going into your washing machine and giving your clothes freshness that lasts all day long. There it is again. It's like music to your ears, or more like music to your nose. That freshness is irresistible. Let's get a Downy Unstoppables bottle shake. And now a sniff solo. Nice. With Downy Unstoppable, you just toss, wash, wow, for all-day freshness.
The smarter way to clean your floors. It's time to make the swap. Swiffer Power Mop.
Introducing the new Swiffer Power Mop, the all-in-one tool that gives you a mop and bucket clean in half the time. The solution's built right in, so no heavy bucket, and the pad has hundreds of scrubbing strips to get deep into grout. Don't mop harder, mop smarter.
Swiffer Power Mop. Swiffer Power Mop.
Over 2.8 million Americans have served in our military since 9/11. Many have returned home with devastating injuries and few resources for them and their families. This is news correspondent Bob Woodruff. I sustained a life-threatening injury while reporting from Iraq in 2006. The military had my back that day, and they have each other's while serving. It's time we had theirs. Please join us as part of the Got Your Six initiative. To learn more, go to gotyour6.org using the number 6.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6759. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6759. That's 800-575-6759. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
This is Lakers Talk with Andy Kamenetzky on 710 ESPN.
The two-game Texas road trip started with a loss in Houston last night. But LeBron and the Lakers must get back up for a big game versus Dallas tomorrow night.
I want to be a great team, but it's going to take some, some things that maybe get uncomfortable with out there. We got to do a little bit more. Be a little bit more gritty, make more plays, not have so many, breakdowns, so we got to just be a lot better.
It's the home of the Lake Show and the home of Lakers Talk.
Lakers Talk is presented by Hoag Orthopedic Institute. When pain keeps you from doing what you love, Hoag Orthopedic Institute gets you back to you. Visit HoagOrthopedicInstitute.com to get the help you need today.
Back to Andy Kamenetzky.
Lakers Talk, Andy Kamenetzky, ESPN LA, 710. Reminder, about 45 minutes, we're going to be joined by Eric Pincus from Bleacher Report to talk about a very big trade idea. Stress again, idea, not a rumor, an idea that he has for the Lakers that I guess would complement the first trade that the Lakers made a couple weeks ago for Dorian Finney-Smith and Shake Milton, D'Angelo Russell, and unfortunately Maxwell Lewis, who injured his first game with Brooklyn. Best wishes to him moving forward. Plus 3 second-round picks, and to get a better idea of what the Lakers have in Dorian Finney-Smith, who has become a very quick fan favorite among Laker fans, bringing on Adam Armbrecht from Locked On Nets. Great coverage that he provides every day, 5 days a week, as part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Adam, how are you, man?
Oh, doing well on a Monday night. Always a pleasure to hop on and find more ways that we can help improve the Lakers' chances in the playoffs.
You may. I mean, I don't know anything as far as sourcing or whatever, but it wouldn't surprise me. You might be getting more phone calls from Rob Pelinka, because it doesn't feel like the Nets are completely done emptying the chest quite yet before February 6th.
No, obviously their strategy now, which has been all year long, is to move some of these veteran talents, clear out some of the issues, so to speak, that are preventing them from losing games and getting close to the top of that draft board. So they already did that, obviously, with moving Dorian Finney-Smith to the Lakers, obviously gave you Shake Milton there as well, and then made the deal with the Golden State Warriors for Dennis Schroeder. So next big domino is going to be the Cam Johnson one, and whether or not they can find the best possible deal here, how long that drags out is going to be the interesting part over the next month.
So DFS played 114 games with the Nets over pieces of the last few seasons combined. Defensively, we'll start there. What stood out to you with him as far as his biggest strengths, the ways that he can be utilized?
Yeah, I think that what you like about him, and probably one of the things that surprised me a little bit when the Nets first got him over, is he's more athletic, I think, than the eye test would tell you, or than you would put him on paper for, right? 3-and-D wing, and you want to peg him just as that. But if you go and look at some the advanced analytics on him, his ability to impact shots going towards the basket, just rim frequency, the ability to challenge players, get some blocks, the switchability on defense, I think those things end up bearing out, especially in a positive for the Lakers, when you have superstar talent up ahead of them, right? So it suffered once the Nets lost Kevin Durant, and once you didn't have those superstar players in front of them. But with LeBron James and Anthony Davis, you can start to shift some of the assignments, and the Lakers have some other size on their roster that should put Dorian Finney-Smith into a spot where I think he can pick and choose his challenges, and they'll be able to use him in that way on that end of the floor, where you're going to get more positive matchups, plus matchups, I should say, that'll allow him to really give the max value at that end.
I've gotten the impression that he has spent more time of late down the stretch in Brooklyn guarding 4s or even 5s than smaller wings or guards. A, is that true? B, can he guard a pretty wide range, if not 1 through 5, pretty close to that?
Yeah, I mean, the Brooklyn Nets have never had a center for the last 15, 30, maybe 60 years. So they've always had this small ball mentality that they've brought to the court. And they used Dorian Finney-Smith for stretches, especially when Nick Claxton went down with injuries. They didn't have Day'Ron Sharpe to start this season. Ben Simmons has been in and out of the lineup, and he's not really a pure center, obviously, in his role at this stage of his career either. So, yeah, they played small ball lineups, and they did that even going back to when they had the superstars on this roster. And I think that Dorian Finney-Smith has shown a really good ability to do that and take on that role. So, from a defensive perspective, we didn't see a lot of him guarding down into the backcourt, right, picking up ones or twos. It doesn't mean he's not capable of it. I don't think you want to put him into those matchups, but you're also not going to look at him as being a detriment out on the floor and saying, hey, if we want to be able to switch everything 1 through 5, if we want to be able to create the best opportunity for our defense to create frustration for the opposition, Dorian Finney-Smith, I would comfortably flex him down 3 through 5, and if you said you wanted to pick up a shooting guard because the matchup is right and you like the other defensive assignments, you're not going to be concerned about his ability to, one, at least speed bump that player, and then also be able to stay with them going towards the rim and make sure that you can challenge those shots, force different decision-making, force kickouts, and have that second and third option become more of a factor for the opposition as opposed to being able to go with your 1 and 2 assignments that you want to attack.
Talking with Adam Arbrecht, covers the Nets for Locked On Nets Monday through Friday. We're eventually going to talk about D'Angelo Russell, who is now part of the Nets. But something that jumped out at me immediately in terms of, I guess, the DFS experience, in back-to-back games against Portland and Atlanta, Dorian Finney-Smith had a three-point shot blocked, and he recovered the loose ball in both cases. Like in the latter, he turned that into a reverse layup, and you just see him not giving up on plays in those two sequences. Is that pretty typical for him?
Oh, yeah. I think, as a model of player, he is your prototypical veteran 3-and-D wing who is all about the role. He's all about the hustle plays. Now, is getting blocked on the perimeter? Hopefully that's not a typical
Well, no, I don't
but,
mean getting blocked, just like the idea of staying with it.
Of course, yeah, tracking down loose balls. He did a really effective job, I thought, in Brooklyn, which, again, because of their lack of size for big stretches, I think whether on his own misses or off of teammates' misses, he's very effective of navigating the lane and getting some of those second-chance rebounds, couple of putbacks, recovering, resetting the offense. So from a hustle standpoint, from a understanding of the process, understanding what scheme you want to run, where you need to be, and then also taking advantage of, listen, when you're not a superstar talent, a lot of the game is just wanting it more than the other player does. So, and we've seen this, I think, from some of the better three-point shooters in the league. You know when the ball coming off your hand is off, right? You know when it's going to be ugly. So part of that is being able to anticipate, if it's not a good look, I know where my bad banks go. I know where those off bounces are going to land. So he's always been, prototypical glue guy, hustle player. I think that still holds for him even at 31 years old.
Talking with Adam Arbrecht, covers the Brooklyn Nets for the Locked On Nets podcast. Offensively, DFS, this season with Brooklyn, when I say he had been a catch-and-shoot three-point specialist, it's not just that the overwhelming majority of his shots were from behind the arc. It's that the overwhelming majority, 90-ish% of them, were catch-and-shoot threes specifically. How much more is there to his offensive game?
Yeah, that's the thing you want him doing first and foremost.
Sure.
So, one of the comparisons that we made this season relative to expectations, so Cam Johnson took a big leap forward this year, and we thought we maybe would see that sooner when it was still Mikal Bridges and that iteration of this roster. Dorian Finney-Smith doesn't have that, right? He's not catching the ball out on the perimeter and then putting it on the deck and taking a guy off the dribble, driving baseline. He can have a couple of those flashes here and there, but primarily he's going to be a catch-and-shoot three-point shooter. He's going to set the screens out at the top of the key. I think he runs the open court. I think it's a little bit of an underrated part of his game is, one, running the open floor, again, being in the right space, being selfless in terms of occupying the area that forces a defense to make the adjustment and opens up easier opportunities. And then he's also, I think, an underrated passer as well. Again, just makes the fundamental right, smart play. And when you're hitting at the percentage that he does on the perimeter, it does afford you to still impact the game in other ways. But I stopped short of saying, hey, watch out, again, for the shoulder shake, get inside the arc, and pull up on a couple of mid-ranges. And frankly, you don't want him doing that, right? The Lakers are among the worst in the league in three-point attempts. They're also only, 35, 36% from beyond the arc. So the relief that his spacing creates offensively, that's the best value you want from him anyway. So I don't even say it as a deterrent or as a negative that he is not the most multidimensional offensive player.
What sense did you get of his personality? Like, I don't know how much time you actually spent around him physically, like in the locker room or practices, but it seems to me from the outside looking in, he has really ingratiated himself into that locker room in, 96 hours or whatever it's been since he's been part of the Lakers.
Yeah, he's a hooper. He wants to play basketball. That's every single interview that he had from Brooklyn, from introductories to media days for the last couple of seasons. It was always just about being grateful too, because he's been able to make a little bit of money, by NBA standards. He's gone out of his way to say he's comfortable. He's not concerned about, what contract's coming next, and that's allowed him to just kind of go out and focus on how am I the best contributor to a basketball team. So, yeah, always well-liked in the locker room, well-respected veteran, and that goes all the way back to his Dallas time. He does have, some significant history in playoff basketball. So I think that had value for the Brooklyn Nets, who were a shifting team, a young team certainly coming into this season. And then from the Lakers' perspective, you have to believe that Anthony Davis, that LeBron James, that these guys look at Dorian Finney-Smith and regard him as someone they can trust, right, and rely on to be there. So never a negative word when it comes to Dorian Finney-Smith inside or outside the locker room. Yeah, it's very, very clear that LeBron and AD already love the dude. Talking with Adam Armbrecht, covers the Nets for the Locked On Nets podcast. Last thing on DFS, how much do you think he can really help them? I tell you, it's funny to go and look at the depth chart for the LA Lakers, and I don't mean it to poke fun, but when you look at it and you insert Dorian Finney-Smith into the rotation, I mean, they need it. Yeah. They need that depth. They need that value in such a big way. And, I don't know. When you talk about expectations, we understand that the West, after you get past those first 2 or 3 teams, obviously is a little bit more wide open. I mean, the Lakers over the last 10 games have now thrust themselves into that 4-7 conversation. And you hear Kyrie's going to miss a couple of weeks for Dallas. I think that Finney-Smith can give you exactly what you've lacked, which is better and more consistent three-point production, and he can give you defensive value as well. How you manage all of those pieces when you look at the depth and the backcourt and what the Lakers maybe still lack, you probably want to add something else here. But there is, I think, a elevation to the floor when you add a player like Dorian Finney-Smith, who is already giving you in the first 4 games 25 minutes a night, right? Pretty consistent performance on both ends of the floor. I think that can move the needle for the Lakers, where you don't lose that odd game because you didn't have the extra shooter on the floor. The spacing doesn't break down a little bit. Maybe it gets a little bit less physical for LeBron on a night-in, night-out basis. So I think some of those matchups at both ends, some of the secondary value to your key players at the top of the roster are going to matter. But when I look at the depth chart, I have a hard time getting past 6.
Yeah.
6 is the lowest in terms of where I would put the value of Dorian Finney-Smith. So, yeah, he's a tremendous add. I think the Lakers will probably look back, the NBA will look back at this trade deadline and say, for 3 second-round picks and a young prospect, an aspiring D'Angelo Russell, that's still going to be looked at, I think, as one of the best values that a team was able to get given their limited assets.
Yeah, absolutely agree. We're talking with Adam Armbrecht, who covers the Nets for the Locked On Nets podcast. Shake Milton was something of a throw-in this deal, and he's been getting some run right now with Gabe Vincent injured. What are his strengths and weaknesses?
Well, for it's funny because he left – he almost played himself out of a role in Brooklyn in a positive way because he was performing too well. The Nets have had their injuries. Cam Thomas has been out. They make these trades. They're trying to get – they had to get rid of Dennis Schroeder. He was performing too well for this team to try to accomplish what
you had to get him the hell out of there.
Of course, you start moving these pieces, and with the absence of them, all of a sudden, Shake steps in, and he strings together a handful of really nice games. He put up 20 points against Milwaukee, and the Nets win there. Just 2 games before the trade with LA, had 16 points, followed that up there, 12 assists in the game against the San Antonio Spurs in that loss. So it's interesting too because he was just seemingly starting to get an opportunity and hit his stride. He had double-digit scoring in 4 out of the last 5 games for the Nets. So I know the first few games here, you only played 5 minutes against Houston for Lakers, obviously. But you look at that Atlanta game, 13 minutes, gets to the line a couple of times, gives out 4 assists. I think you just give him a little bit to mix in. What we liked about him for Brooklyn was that the size was noticeable for us because we've always had smaller backcourt players. they've always been really difficult to trust in defensive assignments and matchups. So I like the idea of that, too. If we're talking defensive value, Shake Milton just seems to be able to walk onto the court and say, okay, what's the assignment? I can pick it up. I can be disruptive on that end. And I think the offense will come here a little bit, but you may have to wait the extra 5 or 10 games for him to kind of carve out that role. But it'll be interesting. It's a little more crowded, as you mentioned, once Vincent comes back.
Talking with Adam Armbrecht, covers the Nets for the Locked On Nets podcast. Last question for you. Do you expect D'Angelo Russell to finish the season in Brooklyn?
Short answer, yes. Mostly because I'd be hard-pressed to find someone that's ready to take on the rest of that money for this year. You got to do the salary matching. The Nets aren't really in a position to need to buy him out. I don't think D'Angelo would take a buyout at this point, even though he'll be looking for his next contract. It's tricky. I think you need to find the right team. And we said this about Dennis Schroeder, and he ultimately got moved. You know, these players, they have value. They can do some scoring. They can facilitate a little bit. I think that at a certain point, D'Angelo Russell became a victim of not being a bad player, but the contract just being too much for what his value is. And I don't know if teams will look at him and think, oh, there's a piece that's going to move the needle if you're a contending team. And frankly, the proof is somewhat in the fact that the LA Lakers were willing to use him as a salary match to get the deal done for Dorian Finney-Smith. This is a team that wants to be in the playoffs, that wants to make a playoff run, and they looked at D'Angelo Russell for maybe on-court and also personality clashes, whatever they've got on behind the scenes these last couple of years, and just said it's not worth it. So, that's hard for me to see a contending team that's going to come calling at the deadline for Brooklyn.
He is Adam Armbrecht. He is the co-host of the Locked On Nets podcast. Great coverage of the Brooklyn Nets. They make it entertaining, even with all of the turbulence that typically covers the Brooklyn Nets. Appreciate the time, brother. Thank you.
As always, Andy.
And 877-710-ESPN if you want to weigh in on anything Adam said regarding Dorian Finney-Smith, regarding Shake Milton, regarding what the Lakers could look like with this new roster configuration. Also going to talk a little bit about Jared Vanderbilt and an update from J.J. Redick about when Vando could potentially be making his return. This is Lakers Talk. Andy Kamenetzky, ESPN LA 710.
One of LA's best kept secrets in the heart of Los Angeles, East Central Hotel offers effortless accommodations and unparalleled accessibility. The East Central Hotel is for everyone looking for entertainment with their trendy spacious rooms, a renovated gym, and a patio lounge for breakfast, dinner, and drinks. Stop by their incredible Nixo Lounge before your next event at LA Live. Book your stay at eastcentralhotel.com or call 213-748-1291 today at Entertainment's official address.
Two iconic comedians, one night of laughs. David Spade, Dana Carvey.
Give a guy like this, whenever I take any pill, he goes, dude, give me one. Maybe you don't even know what it is. He goes, dude, I got kids.
Even in the best marriage, at one point, you look over and go, not my best choice.
Saturday, March 15th, Fantasy Springs Resort Casino. Tickets on sale now at fantasyspringsresort.com or 760-342-5000.
It's playoff time, and it's now or never. Don't miss out on the last few weeks of football action with Prize Picks, the best place to win cash while watching the playoffs. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars awarded in winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. The app is really easy to use. Pick 2 or more players across any sport, pick more or less on their projection, and you could win up to 1,000 times your money. Prize Picks now offers MasterCard for quick and easy deposits into your account this sports season. Join Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app, available to play in more than 40-plus states, including California and Texas. Download the Prize Picks app today and use the code TRAV and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code TRAV on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
Hey guys, it's Cappy. You've heard me talk about my personal situation with my divorce and subsequent custody battle in the past, and I know that you need a team behind you to get the justice you deserve. My friend Mark Reel and his team at Real Fathers Rights are here to help you guys. Visit realfathersrights.com/710. That's REEL. realfathersrights.com/710 or call 323-870-1611. That's 323-870-1611. Real Fathers Rights. The Father's Rights Attorneys.
And we're live here outside the Perez family home, just waiting for the... And there they go, almost on time this morning. Mom is coming out the front door strong with a double-arm kid carry. Looks like Dad has the bags. Daughter is bringing up the rear. Oh, but the diaper bag wasn't closed. Diapers and toys are everywhere. Ooh, but Mom has just nailed the perfect car seat buckle for the toddler. And now the eldest daughter, who looks to be about 9 or 10, has secured herself in the booster seat. Dad zips the bag closed, and they're off. But looks like Mom doesn't realize her coffee cup is still on the roof of the car. And there it goes. Oh, that's a shame. That mug was a fam favorite.
Don't sweat the small stuff. Just nail the big stuff. Like making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Learn more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Visit nhtsa.gov/the
right seat. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
As you age, you may have questions about finding transportation, healthy meals, or other services around your home and in your community. And the Elder Care Locator has the answers at 1-800-677-1116. Our caring advisors can connect you to trustworthy local experts and the support you need to age well at home. Real people, real assistance, and real connections are just a phone call away with the Elder Care Locator. 1-800-677-1116.
Lakers Talk continues on 710 ESPN.
AD and the Lakers will have a tough road battle in Dallas tomorrow night, even though the Mavericks will be without Luka.
I mean, it's still a good team. Kyrie, still there, shooters and Clay, PJ, Biggs, Daniel Gafford. They got a lot of talent. So, just because Luka isn't there, obviously he's a big part of what they do. But, we'll be ready to play this guy because we don't definitely need to win. We can't lose, both of these games. So, it's going to be a must-win for us, and we got to come in with the right mindset.
Lakers Talk is presented by Hoag Orthopedic Institute. When pain keeps you from doing what you love, Hoag Orthopedic Institute gets you back to you. Visit HoagOrthopedicInstitute.com to get the help you need today.
More Lakers Talk with Andy Kamenetzky right now.
Driven to tears, just like the Laker fans were last night after a frustrating 119-115 loss to the Houston Rockets. The Lakers played like such bleep in the first half, down 18 at halftime, then actually crawled their way back into making this a game, only to have crappy execution down the stretch do them in. It was a sign that the Lakers, when they are at the top of their game, can hang with even the best in the West, the most athletic, the youngest, all that stuff, but they do not have the margin for error for that type of first half or problems down the stretch. We just talked about Dorian Finney-Smith, and thanks again to Adam Armbrecht from Locked On Nets for that scouting report. And DFS is obviously there to help shore up the Lakers' defense. J.J. Redick said that Jared Vanderbilt, this was yesterday before the Houston loss, that Jared Vanderbilt's knee issue, and this in and of itself caught my ear because I'm like, dude's been recovering from double foot surgery, that there's been a knee issue on top of it just lets you know how complicated
2 years already almost.
Yeah, getting Vando back on the court has been like an odyssey. But said that the knee issue has dissipated, I believe swelling gone down, and he is ramping up for a return to play. And JJ said that the progress along these lines is, quote, real. So I would be – they had originally given January as the early January as the target date. I'm thinking now it could be mid-January because we're already at January 6th today. Vando, I would be stunned if he was available tomorrow versus Dallas with no practice time. By the way, that game tip-off at 4:30. 3 p.m., we've got the pregame with Beto Duran, and no Luka, no Kyrie Irving. Kyrie's going to be out 1 to 2 weeks with a back issue, so this was a game that the Lakers really needed to win on the heels of that Houston loss when it was just Luka that was going to be out. But now that both Luka and Kyrie are out, the Mavericks have not won a game this season when both Kyrie and Luka are not available. The Lakers need to make sure that that mark, I believe, would go to 0-4. I think it's 0-3 right now. They need to make sure that it is 0-4. Gabe Vincent is still day-to-day. Hopefully he will be available tomorrow in Dallas, but it does seem like, if nothing else, Gabe Vincent is getting closer to a return after the impact of that illegal screen from Domantas Sabonis last week against the Sacramento Kings, but also Jared Vanderbilt, it sounds like, is making tangible progress. So if you can get anything resembling Jared Vanderbilt at his best, even for like 15 minutes a night, combined with Dorian Finney-Smith, combined with Max Christie, combined with Gabe Vincent, and obviously with Anthony Davis as the backline, LeBron newly re-engaged on the defensive side of the ball, this all of a sudden becomes a Lakers team that, and this is shocking to say because I will admit I thought there was no chance in hell of this when the season began. All of a sudden they're looking like a pretty good defensive team. It's also pretty crazy too. For like the last, I think it was 5, I saw a stat, like the last 7 games, something like that, the Lakers were the 7th rated offense in the league over those 5 or 7 games, whatever it was. And I'm like, they don't look like it to me, but the numbers are the numbers, man. And I have no idea what these other teams are, what nonsense they're involved with. You know, I don't see every single game, but the Lakers are moving in the right direction, and they are looking the part, not of a championship team yet, but they are definitely looking increasingly the part of a team that when they play to their highest level and they have to push themselves in ways some of these other contenders don't have to reach that level, but when they do, they can be a pretty good team. They can be a pretty tough team to play against. We're going to be talking with Eric Pincus in about 15 minutes with trade possibilities and stuff like that with the Lakers. There's an interesting name that has been linked to the Lakers, and also want to talk about a report from Dan Wojcicki from the LA Times addressing what type of player the Lakers will or will not be looking for over the next month before the trade deadline. This is Lakers Talk. Andy Kamenetzky, again, 877-710-ESPN. If you want to weigh in, ESPN LA.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text STREAK to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text STREAK to 321-321. That's STREAK to 321-321.
710 ESPN, your home for the 17-time world champion Lakers.
KSPN Los Angeles, a Good Karma Brands radio station. 710 ESPN, the radio home of the purple and gold, and the home of Lakers Talk.
The Lakers fell behind in the first half to the Rockets and climbed back in the game late, but came up short in the end.
Max to bring it in. Lakers trail by 3. Gets it to LeBron. No, he threw it to Fred VanVleet, and LeBron fouled him. Wow.
That's what it is. You know, the game was lost in the first half. You know, we fought to give ourselves a chance to win, but, you know, their second chance opportunities and their offensive rebounds is what really hurt us tonight.
It's a new edition of Lakers Talk with Andy Kamenetzky.
Next up, the Lakers have a tough road game in Dallas. No Luka for the Mavs, but LeBron knows it's going to be a battle.
So Kyrie be ready and the rest of those guys be ready. It'll be a good one. It'll be a good game. There you go.
Lakers Talk is presented by Hoag Orthopedic Institute. When pain keeps you from doing what you love, Hoag Orthopedic Institute gets you back to you. Visit HoagOrthopedicInstitute.com to get the help you need today.
Lakers Talk is on. Here's Andy Kamenetzky.
I don't want to be the one to contradict LeBron James, but he is incorrect that Kyrie and the guys will be ready tomorrow in Dallas because Kyrie actually will not be available. He will be joining Luka Doncic in street clothes. It was announced today that Kyrie is going to be out for 1 or 2 weeks with a back issue. So the Lakers have a real opportunity tomorrow night in Dallas. No Luka, no Kyrie. The Mavericks have not won a game this season when both of those guys are unavailable. The Lakers need to make sure that they do not become the first victim of a Luka-less, Kyrie-less Dallas Mavericks. Going to be joined in about 12 minutes by Eric Pincus from Bleacher Report. Going to talk about the trade market over the next month and an idea that the Lakers had an idea that Eric had for the Lakers when it comes to a trade. Again, this is an idea. This is not a rumor that Eric is reporting. This is not anything he's heard. It is just a concept. Before I get to a couple more trade thoughts, wanted to address the thoughts from Eric, who had called in during the first hour about Anthony Davis and whether or not AD is wired to really be the guy for the Lakers. And it's an interesting question because, as Eric brought up, and I agree, I think Anthony Davis last season was the best two-way player in the league. Like, I don't think anybody in the league played at as high of a level on both sides of the ball on a team with actual aspirations, like a team that actually their season mattered, and particularly defensively with less help than Anthony Davis. And he did that while averaging 26 points a game. Like, I don't think anybody did more of a lift. I think Anthony Davis was the best player on the Lakers last year. I think he is still the best player on the Lakers this year. I do think, though, that he becomes a victim at times of needing not just the ball to get to him, but the Lakers really running their offense. Because running the offense means running everything through Anthony Davis. But AD is not going to be the guy that brings the ball up in most cases. Like, guys like LeBron, guys like Austin Reeves, who I think at times can be kind of guilty of freelancing, like, those guys need to be mindful of the offense that they were running earlier in the season, which would start with Anthony Davis, where AD would be that hub, where he was really the building block of what they were doing offensively. And look, for all of D'Angelo Russell's faults, I think D'Lo was actually the most conscious guy among facilitators on this team of running an offense that really was built around Anthony Davis. So, it is up to AD, I guess, to assert himself more vocally and remind guys to do it. But AD is, I will say this, he is not wired, I think, to scream at guys, give me the effing ball, or, to be, Shaq passive-aggressively saying, if you don't feed the big dog's not going to guard the porch. Like, that's not how AD is. Like, AD is, I think, for better and for worse, he's a rule follower. Like, and he's not somebody that I think is going to upset the apple cart that way. Like, he's not going to make waves that way. So it is on him to make sure that he is always fighting for position, that if someone's fronting, he moves, things like that. It's important for him to be looking to be aggressive, win the ball when he gets it. But it is also, I think, on the other guys to make sure that they are involving him more and make sure that they all remember that the offense for this team actually looked its best when it was being run through AD in the first month of the season. Talking about the Dorian Finney-Smith trade earlier with Adam Armbrecht from Locked On Nets, and also we're going to be talking with Eric Pincus regarding potential moves the Lakers could make. there was a report today, or people were aggregating, I should say, John Gambadoro from 98.7 FM in Phoenix.
Sounds like a mafia family.
It does, really. It really does. Like
the Gambaro family.
Like I'm going to say right now that John Gambadoro, that he's credible, just because I don't want to take the chance on him hearing any inference from me that he's not. As far as I'm concerned.
He knows people.
Oh, he knows people. He knows people inside the Suns organization. He knows people outside the Suns organization. He just knows people. But
he's also in the sanitation business too.
he's an importer. He's an importer, exporter, olive oil, stuff like that. All kidding aside, I've actually heard that Gambadoro is actually very, very well connected with Phoenix sports. Phoenix sports. I want to make sure that's very clear again. He is connected with Phoenix sports. But that Bradley Beal, who is now playing off the bench for the Phoenix Suns, had 25 points actually tonight off the
10
bench.
of 15.
10 of 15 from the field in a Suns victory over the 76ers. But that Bradley Beal would be willing to waive his no-trade clause to go to the Denver Nuggets, to go to the Miami Heat, which is interesting because Jimmy Butler has made it clear he wants out of Miami. The Heat have now publicly said they will listen to offers. But that he would also waive his no-trade clause for either LA team, the Clippers or the Lakers. And two things. First of all, like I said, even though Gambadoro is known as a very credible source, I've seen some people say online that he was a bit misaggregated and may have been exaggerating a bit, or people were exaggerating, not Gambadoro. People were kind of exaggerating his relaying that Bradley Beal would do this for the Lakers. That notwithstanding, it doesn't matter because Bradley Beal to the Lakers is not going to happen. Like, that is straight up not going to happen. I have not inquired about this. I don't need to inquire about this. This is not going to happen. The Lakers would have to cobble together so much salary to match Bradley Beal's $50 million. Like, you're talking at this point likely having to include Austin Reeves just to make the numbers work. And at this point of their respective careers, I think Austin Reeves is a better player than Bradley Beal. And if nothing else, he is producing comparably to Bradley Beal at like a quarter of the cost. And you would have to send out so much infrastructure to make this work. You're basically left with LeBron, AD, who clearly aren't being traded because otherwise what would be the point of this? LeBron, AD, Bradley Beal, I don't know, maybe like Dalton Connect or Max Christie, and DFS is probably still around because I don't think he can be moved in a deal like this because of CBA rules, and Flotsam and Jetsam. Like, you're going to be left looking for street free agents, likely just to...
DeAndre will be playing.
Well, okay. How badly do you want this, DeAndre? Are you looking for this to happen? Because this could be your shot with the Lakers.
Nah, I'm okay.
Wow. You don't want to join this team. I mean, this is not... Bradley Beal to the Lakers makes no sense for the Lakers. If he has not been helping the Suns to this point, I don't understand why he would be helping the Lakers to this point. You would be creating the same problem for the Lakers that the Suns have, which is basically they've got a big three, kind of in finger quotes, the third of which, Beal, is producing at the level of like a fourth or fifth option, but getting max money. And Bradley Beal is still owed $110 million over the next 2 seasons and is presumably not going to forego his no-trade clause moving forward. He's going to keep that thing. So the Lakers are going to be just as stuck as the Wizards have been at times, as the Suns have been at times.
Yeah, exactly. And it's different when you have a team like the Suns where you have like all these guys, you got all these superstars. You got Durant, you got Booker, and you got all these other role players. And like Bradley Beal, when he was on those Wizards team, it was literally just Bradley Beal. Yeah. And obviously John Wall was on that team, but we can go down the line with that. But I'm just saying, like, Bradley Beal is used to being the guy. Get the ball in his hands, he's going to take the last second shot, he's going to score, he's going to give you 30 points, 25 to 30 points a game. But his production with the Suns has gone down because he cannot find the right fit with that team. There's no structure on how that team plays whatsoever. That's why they had to move him to the bench, because he's not a right fit for them. So if he's not a right fit for the Suns, what makes you think that he's going to come and translate over here for the Lakers? No, that's not going to work like that.
No, especially, too, if you have to gut everything just to bring him over. Like, maybe you can figure out a way to do this without including Reeves, but at that point, you're going to end up having to include Christie and Connect, I think, just to make the money work. Like, there's only so many of these veterans minimum guys that you're going to be able to cobble into this. Like, you're going to have to – I mean, I don't know what Phoenix is going to be asking for this. There might need to be a third team involved just to, like, send out a little of these contracts because both of these teams are dealing with cap issues. Phoenix is like a beyond second apron team. They're like an eighth apron team at this point. So, like, they're going to have even less flexibility than the Lakers, which means you likely have to get a third team involved, maybe a fourth team involved. Those other teams are going to want incentives to make this work, which could potentially mean you have to give up, like, trade, picks just to bring in Bradley Beal. Like, for the Lakers, this not only would make no sense, it would feel like they learned absolutely nothing from the Russell Westbrook experience. Like, Beal would be a better fit than Russ, but, like, Russell Westbrook might be the least pliable player in the league. Like, this would be such a stupid idea by the Lakers. Again, it's not going to happen.
Hey, Russ is balling in Denver.
He is balling in Denver. Russ
He's a great fit right now. But I'm just saying, like, I would rather have a team where there's no, like, you don't need to have 3 stars. Honestly, if you have your 2 core guys in LeBron and AD, you can obviously build around them. They're learning that they got to build around those 2 right now.
Yeah.
There's no need to have a 3rd star. Get other guys who come in, do their job. Like LeBron says, they need to work on the little things as far as, like, the grit, the grind, the toughness. Well, you got to bring someone in who can provide that toughness. Yes, they addressed the issue with DFS. Obviously, they want more toughness on the defensive end. Okay, now we need more. We need a little bit more out of that as well. We need a little more guys to come in who will set the tone and bring a lot more energy and effort off the bench as well. Like I said, you mentioned Rui earlier. I know I'm just jumping in, but we mentioned Rui earlier, and it's like there's times where he's floating around. So if his offense isn't doing, and he's 6'7", 6'8", big body, but doesn't utilize his body enough. So it's like when he's out there on offense, and he's not providing nothing on defense because he really can't stay in front of nobody, and you expect him with this size to be able to rebound, he's not doing that either. So that's why I felt like J.J. Redick was like, okay, we're going to sit you down a little bit so you can figure it out, so you see your mistakes. That's why I'm pretty sure they went over film to see where he can plug them in and put him in the right spot, because offensively, when he's not shooting, when he's not hitting his threes, because he settles a lot, he doesn't get to the paint anymore, which I don't really, because early in the season we saw him aggressive, getting to the basket. He's gone away from that. So now it's like, okay, we need to find that Rui who will give us and provide us something offensively, because if you're not doing nothing offensively, then now we got to look at it. What are you going to provide both ends?
I don't really see what Bradley Beal would bring to this team that as your 3rd best player, you're not already getting from Austin Reeves as the current 3rd best player. Austin Reeves makes like 25% of what Bradley Beal makes. Like, it just makes no sense to me at all. And then if he becomes your 4th best player, if you somehow kept Reeves, you're paying $50 million for a number 4. It's not going to happen.
Don't need to have a 3rd star.
No. Don't need to have a $50 million 3rd star. We've already been down that road. We saw what that looked like. It was really bad. All right, coming up next, though, we are going to talk about potential trade possibilities that, if nothing else, make a little bit more sense. That's with Eric Pincus from Bleacher Report. This is Lakers Talk. Andy Kamenetzky, ESPN LA 710.
Just like the Lakers have a game plan on the court, you should have a Go Safely game plan off the court. If you plan to drink, plan for a designated sober driver. If you're the designated sober driver, move over a lane when you see amber flashing lights on Caltrans, law enforcement, or other emergency vehicles or tow trucks. If you can't move over safely, slow down and be work zone alert. Go Safely, California, from the California Office of Traffic Safety and Caltrans. ESPN LA and Beverly Hills Orthodontics are teaming up because we want to know who's smiling in SoCal. Go to ESPNLA.com and nominate who you think is making LA a better place. This can be a mentor, a teacher, a coach, a good Samaritan, a youngster who brightens your day. Tell us who's smiling and you could win some awesome prizes like sweet tickets from ESPN LA, Sonic Care electric toothbrushes, whitening treatment, and a grand prize of Invisalign from Beverly Hills Ortho. Enter now at ESPNLA.com and remember, you're always smiling at Beverly Hills Orthodontics.
When your car is making a strange noise, no matter what it is, you can't just pretend it's not happening.
That's an interesting sound.
It's like your mental health. If you're struggling and feeling overwhelmed, it's important to do something about it. It can be as simple as talking to someone in your community, or just taking a deep, calming breath when you need it. Nice. For mental health resources, check out loveyourmindtoday.org. At loveyourmindtoday.org, you'll find information that may help you get through a tough time. Things like tips for dealing with stress, how to navigate difficulties like financial worries, anger, substance use, and more. You can also find real stories of how people navigated their own mental health challenges. Because once you start to address the problem, you can go so much further. Visit loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
Every 40 seconds, a child is reported missing. That's 2,000 children every single day. It's a heart-wrenching reality that we can no longer ignore. Find the Children is a non-profit organization dedicated to helping find missing kids. You can be a part of their mission by donating your unwanted vehicle, running or not. Call 1-800-294-0222. We guarantee that you will receive the maximum tax deduction. We provide fast, free pickup with 24-hour response. Call 1-800-294-0222. Find the Children provides crucial resources to help find missing children and educational materials to teach kids how to recognize and avoid predators. Our recovery programs have a proven track record of reuniting kids with their families. It's time to act. Donate your unwanted or unused car. Help us build a world where every child is safe. Pick up the phone and call 1-800-294-0222. Together, we can bring these kids home safely. This advertisement was paid for in partnership with Cars R Us and Find the Children.
All the latest surrounding the Lake Show, right here on Lakers Talk with Andy Kamenetzky.
Anthony Davis and the Lakers put up a fight in Houston last night, but not even 30 points from AD was enough to take down the Rockets.
You know, we couldn't make a shot. They were making everything, to start. Our game plan discipline wasn't there early. So it was really on us. It was on our players that, not following the game plan, which kind of got them going.
Lakers Talk is presented by Hoag Orthopedic Institute. When pain keeps you from doing what you love, Hoag Orthopedic Institute gets you back to you. Visit HoagOrthopedicInstitute.com to get the help you need today.
Now back to Lakers Talk with Andy Kamenetzky.
America, have you heard? Sexy new guest, Eric Pincus. Eric Pincus joining from Bleacher Report. He is a cap guru. He understands the CBA as well as, if not better than, many GMs around the league. That it's nothing Eric has told me. It's just things I've heard about Eric. And he's got a new piece up at Bleacher Report that I want to make it clear. This is not a rumor Eric has heard. This is not anything he is talking about as something that could be imminent for the Lakers. This is just an idea that he had about a doozy of a deal for the Lakers that has gotten the Lakers Twitter and the general internet predictably ginned up. So we're going to talk with Eric right now. Eric, how are you, man?
I'm doing well. I have the time to answer some questions.
Excellent.
Going back to the music. The music.
I know. Yeah, if it's possible to play the time just throughout this interview, is that doable? Eric's requested that.
As long as we're able to dance a little bit. That's old school stuff. I appreciate that. I was a kid, but I love that stuff.
Oh, absolutely. I'm actually the fact that I know I'm a really good father is I let my daughter control the music when I'm taking her to school, taking her to volleyball practice or whatever. She always plays Jungle Love by the time. I know I'm doing.
You've done your part.
I'm doing
You've done your part.
She knew the lyrics to Starfish and Coffee by Prince when she was about 5. I'm a damn good father. All right, so
there you go.
You've got this piece up, Eric Pincus, over at Bleacher Report. Let's just dive right in. This is an 8-player deal with the Utah Jazz that would represent not just a big swing for the Lakers, but maybe the biggest swing the Lakers would be able to take for a while. And again, to make it clear, not a rumor, just something you were concocting. In this scenario, the Lakers get Walker Kessler, Colin Sexton, and Patty Mills. The Jazz would get Gabe Vincent, Christian Wood, Jalen Hood-Schifino, Cam Reddish, Jackson Hayes, removal of the top 4 protection on the Lakers' 2027 first-round pick that the Jazz already own, 2029 first-round pick, 2031 first-round pick, and some trade exceptions that our audience will not care about. Other than Gabe, the Lakers would not be trading any rotation players of importance. It's really about the draft capital that they would surrender. Break down the case for why the Lakers would make this deal, but then what the cons would be.
Absolutely. So I'll cage this in saying this is not necessarily something that I endorse. It's more of exploring the ideas. And so I had there is Laker interest in Walker Kessler. That I think is pretty firmly established that they would like to add another big guy, and that Kessler being young, being defensive-minded, and possibly a guy who could fit in with Anthony Davis, and inexpensive, which helps their situation, makes a lot of sense. So as I was going through that, I wrote last week the theoretical of that, but I also wanted to expand it because some people very casually say, oh, well, they should just do this and they should do that, including getting Colin Sexton. If you do, I guess the best way to put it is that the NBA is all about limited resources, especially in these new rules. And the Lakers, really, this would be an all-in move in replacing D'Angelo Russell with another ball-handling guard. The premise is that we're already seeing the best defenders are now taking on Austin Reeves. Now, he's still productive. He's still doing really well. But when you get to the playoffs, what happens if he struggles because teams are scheming against him and they really don't have any other creative guard who can handle the ball? And that's where you say, okay, maybe Colin Sexton, who's shooting really well, shooting like, well, I think he's above 40%, like 43, really shooting well this year, averaging like 20-something points. But at the same time, playing on a crappy team that plays no defense, and he could just play offense and do his thing. So it's really a question of, do the Lakers go all in, not just for this year, but really next year with this club, with all their picks, all their future picks gone? And can you say that this is a team that will win a championship or at least compete for a championship this year and next, because you can't really do a lot more after this? Do you say that that's a team that can win? And I think that's the kind of evaluation the Lakers would have to make. And if you can't get Kessler without also doing Sexton, because the Jazz won't do it without all those picks, it's not like an and-or situation. Maybe they can't get Kessler unless they also give up all those picks and in the process get Sexton. What if you can't get Kessler and this is the only way to get that done? And Sexton does help the team, so is it a great deal? I don't know the answer, but I thought it was worth discussing.
Talking with Eric Pincus from Bleacher Report about a piece he has up at the site, an idea that he had, pretty big swing for the Lakers that would land them Walker Kessler and Colin Sexton from the Utah Jazz, but would basically cost them all the draft capital that they can immediately control. What in your mind, Eric, would be the cons of it?
Well, I mean, just LeBron's shelf life is very TBD. The guy is 40 years old. He's still one of the most powerful players in the league, and we could sit here, and I'm sure I know you and your audience argues the LeBron case. Like, how long should they be committed to winning with LeBron? When do you say, okay, where the Lakers, we've peaked with LeBron, maybe it's time to think about something else? How long do you give up picks in 27, 29, 2031, which should be well beyond LeBron's career, and basically sacrifice the long-term future? So the cons are, let's say someone else becomes available next year. So you basically don't push in to go further this year. Lakers get knocked out in the first or second round, and that's that. And maybe you get another year like that with LeBron. And then now it's maybe time. If you did push in and it works, great. But if it doesn't, then down the road, you have no real means to rebuild. You still have some picks, but they're not picks you can trade. It gets very difficult to make, like, let's say, easy answer would be De'Aaron Fox might become available. There's some talk that, he wants out. He's on the clutch brand with LeBron James. What if he wants to come to the Lakers this summer? And they've already traded their picks for Colin Sexton and Walker Kessler. And you can't go after a better of the three. He's the best player. Maybe you're taking away your chances of that. Of course, there's the risk that it doesn't work, but that's the evaluation. I don't think Sexton is a great defender. You lose Gabe Vincent, who's your best guard defender. but they would have the means to add one more player via the minimum. They do have Jared Vanderbilt back.
Hopefully.
It's theoretically. It's an arguable case. I can see the pros and the cons, and I can't get behind it and say, oh, this is like a no-brainer. If the Lakers prioritize winning right now with LeBron, this may be the best opportunity if the Jazz were willing to do this, then the alternatives, which might be like Malcolm Brogdon or Jonas Valanciunas or Nick Richards, who I'll write about next week, which is like
I've got my eye on him. Nick Richards is someone that I actually think would make a lot of backup center for Charlotte Hornets.
Exactly, and Nick Richards is a better backup than they probably have.
Mm-hmm.
I would say Walker Kessler is probably a better get. If you can get Walker Kessler, you're getting a younger guy with more upside who has the potential theoretically to be the starter for several years, 5, 6, 7 years, however long. So I think that they are, the best way to put it is that they made a move, and I like the Dorian Finney-Smith move, but it cost them all of their capital in the future when it comes to second-round picks, which makes it very difficult to protect future firsts. So I don't know exactly how they would protect him. I have ideas on how I would negotiate it with the Jazz, but the Jazz also, you got Danny Ainge. You want to be negotiating with Danny Ainge? I mean, this is a long-time Celtic that you're dealing with. You want to be so he's going to want to put the screws on the Lakers, and rightfully so, as he should. And who knows how that would work out? But it's a win-now move. The sense I get is the Lakers are a very win-now team. And so do you push in your final chips and just go for it? And if you do, is this the right combination?
Talking with Eric Pincus, NBA cap guru, writer for Bleacher Report. He's the GM of Sports Business Classroom, where you can learn everything about this new, very complicated, some would even say oppressive CBA. Mm-hmm. He has a new piece up at Bleacher Report right now, an idea of a trade for the Lakers that would involve all of their immediate draft capital that's controllable moving forward, but it would land them Colin Sexton and Walker Kessler. Here's a piece of this, because Walker Kessler's been linked to the Lakers for about a year. Here's a piece of it that I've never quite understood. If the Jazz are rebuilding, why would they make Walker Kessler a 23-year-old true center, a defensive stalwart, he's a walking double-double, available while they're entering a rebuild? He seems to me like somebody that you would want to be a part of that process moving forward. It almost feels like a red flag to me if he's available.
And it might be, and you can debate, there are different takes on who Walker Kessler is as a player, and I've talked to multiple scouts, and I've gotten a very opinion on him, and I don't think he is for everyone, and I don't think that he fits the style of play that their head coach wants to play. He is also due an extension this summer, so Walker Kessler, they don't have to pay him before the start of next season, but he's basically got 1 year left after this, and then you have to pay him. And so if he is somebody that they're not willing to invest in because they don't, whatever reason, like his style that doesn't fit the way the coach wants to play, they just may not want to play with a traditional non-stretch center. And if you see when they were blowing up and having, last year they started the season hot, or maybe last couple of years, whatever it is, it was all through shooting and spacing, and it wasn't through this traditional sized play with a binary big meaning like a traditional big who doesn't space the floor, whose job is screening, rolling, putbacks, defense, all that kind of stuff.
This is what you should have said, by the way, to J.J. Redick when he asked you to define, remember at the opening press conference, when he asked you to define what a traditional center is. You should have had this ammo right there ready for him, Eric.
Oh, I've spent the last few months just owning that answer. No.
Being ready for the next time you and JJ tangle.
I was pretty surprised by that reaction. And someone with the Lakers came over soon after and was like, yeah, we definitely need a sized player.
Well, we learned from that moment that JJ, very into the semantics game. Very into semantics.
Yeah, and whatever. Okay, and again, it's new. It was his first press conference. It was funny, but whatever. You clearly need size, right. And I asked the same thing to Darvin, and Darvin gave me the same answer too. Right. And that didn't go well when they faced Jokic again, right? So if you just want to keep doing the same thing and assume a different result, that's not supposed to be a sane thing to do. So, but I think that ultimately, Walker Kessler fits who the Lakers are and how they see the world differently than the Jazz do.
Okay.
And so if you're willing to pay him to do that, and he is young enough where, like, yeah, they could start AD, or in some games when they need to go big, you start Kessler, and it's not like Russell Westbrook was whatever he was. You could love him, just not like him, but he didn't come in to come off the bench. And it was a process to get him to come off the bench, whereas Walker Kessler's not coming in with that kind of gravitas or personality to say, I have to start or I'm not going to be happy, right? So it's a little bit more of a challenge with Sexton in the idea because he's used to playing a certain amount. And, like, I get, like, that he's a high scorer on a bad team, but he is on the clutch brand. And so there is something to be said about LeBron and Clutch and his group of players that tend to gravitate their way towards the Lakers and have won a championship together. So maybe that's an effort in Clutch to get Sexton a long-term home. And it's a pathway. I just don't know if I love it, but at the same time, maybe it's the best offer they can get. I don't know. I don't know if I want to negotiate with Danny Ainge, though. I'll tell you that. Lakers are going to have to pay a lot no matter what combination with Danny Ainge.
Talking with Eric Pincus, NBA cap guru. He's a writer for Bleacher Report. Beyond this specific concept that you laid out in your piece for Bleacher Report, this new CBA with Apron World, as Rob Pelinka likes to call it, how active do you expect the trade market to be? Like, are the parameters now stifling enough that it could be slower?
I'm sort of a contrarian to the narrative. I think it is harder for high payroll teams to make moves. It is easier for everyone else, like dramatically easier. I was helping somebody doing some research on a Kobe story, the Kobe trade, the no dang, no deal. Mm-hmm. And I was looking back at the rules back then. I'm like, my gosh, it was so restrictive. It was so hard to make trades. It is so much easier to make trades. Stuff that would never have worked in a million years are easy to do now. But if you are the Suns, it's really hard. If you're the Bucks and you want Jimmy Butler, it's really hard. You know what I mean? So, like, but there are only 4 teams that are in that super hard area. There's only like another 4 that are in that middle area where the Lakers are. And everybody else is pretty much okay. Half the league isn't even in the tax. And that's not even normal. Usually like 20 teams, 22 teams aren't in the tax. If you're not worried about paying tax, which is below the apron line, you're not worried about the aprons because you're not even in the conversation. So I think that there's a little bit of adjustment when there's a new system. You have stuff that's grandfathered in from previous, systems, right? We had a way of doing things. We have a new way, and the Clippers adapted, the Warriors adapted, and you can argue both teams got better by adapting, and they're paying less and have better teams, arguably. The Clippers are probably better without Paul George. The Warriors, we could debate this, but if healthy, are probably better without Klay Thompson at this point. And so, yes, it is hard. Rob has said many times in press conferences and privately to us media people that trades are hard, and yet they got a trade done, and yet the Knicks got a bunch of trades done. And I think there's going to be a big we've already had more trades in season this year than we did last year. So I get that it's stifled, and yes, it is for the Suns and for a few different teams. But I do think that we'll have a business as usual busy trade deadline with the teams that are crappy, trying to get out of veterans that they don't want anymore, trying to get draft comp, and the teams that think that they can win, going for those extra pieces. And I'll just say, like, outside of the Thunder, who are absolutely fantastic this year, but they're young and don't have a track record of they haven't won yet. And everyone else looks pretty vulnerable, Lakers inclusive. Nuggets look vulnerable. Mavericks are vulnerable. Name a team that doesn't look vulnerable. On the East, the Cavs and the Celtics are amazing. But there's enough teams that look at the standings, see where they are, and say, we're not that far off. And there's enough sellers who are looking at the lottery and seeing the kids in the lottery thinking, we're not that far off from being, bottom team going after Cooper Flag or whatever. So I do expect some activity. It's always fun. That's, obviously what drives a big part of my business is tracking all this stuff. So it's good fun. I don't think it'll be a quiet deadline. I think we'll have some fun.
Talking with Eric Pincus, NBA cap guru, writer for Bleacher Report. Who are some of the players that you think could be available that are worth monitoring for the Lakers?
Well, I think the premise is that they need a big first and foremost, and so the Kessler is the most obvious based on fit and age and whatnot, but he may be more expensive. So we mentioned Nick Richards. There are other bigs that have different degrees of salary. So, for instance, Jonas Valanciunas is a traditional binary big. He's older, debatable impact. I like it less than some of the other options.
I'm not into it at all.
Yeah, agreed. But I know he's available. I know that they could probably find a way to get him. Also, Robert Williams III over in Portland, who is probably, if you can guarantee that he's going to be healthy, I would say go get him immediately. However, guy's never healthy.
Yeah,
he's been hurt. Yeah,
it sucks, but it's true.
Yeah, it's just reality. And as we talk about age, there are some things that just don't work as well after an injury that I'm experiencing. Not too bad, but you feel it, even like a football injury from high school in my shoulder. I feel that now, and there's certain things I can't quite do. So the point is, sometimes it's just not meant to be. And I wonder if that's the case with Robert Williams, because if he was healthy, he would be, really, really good fit. There was another. I get a lot of people saying, "What about Miles Turner?" I'm like, well, the guy makes a lot of money, and at the same time, the Pacers need another center. Like if they have Miles, they need another center. Not they need to replace him. They need one more. And so, why is a team that has designs on getting back to the playoffs and maybe even the conference finals again, why are they trading their starting center and then for what? And so it doesn't. You also have to look at what you're bringing back in terms of salary, which is why Kessler and why Nick Richards make the most sense, because they're like $5 million, and that's a number that works a little bit more economically in the Lakers' payroll.
What I really like about Nick Richards, before we go, and for people unaware of Nick Richards, because like a lot of people, you may not be watching Hornets basketball, he is the backup center for Charlotte. He is a defense-first guy. He can rebound. He can block shots. But also, like you said, Eric, he makes $5 million a year. You could find some salary with the Lakers that's easy to match for him. And also, too, he's perfectly slotted, I think, for the role of a backup center. Like, he's not somebody that is going to be upset if he's only playing 15, 18 minutes. He's not somebody that's accustomed to more than that. He's somebody that I think you could have on the floor, for 10 minutes a night during the playoffs, because once the playoffs begin, that's about all you're going to be giving to centers that aren't named Anthony or Davis. Like, one thing I like about him is just he seems perfect for the actual role that it feels like the Lakers are looking to fill, unless it's somebody like Kessler, where you're basically talking about bringing in a new starting center.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, you could certainly start. You don't have to start Kessler every game, and I think you'll be fine with that. There's another kid, Day'Ron Sharpe, who's on Brooklyn, who kind of fits that mold as well. But Richards, what he did well is that Mark Williams is supposedly the starting center, but he was hurt most of the year. And so they put in Nick Richards. Of course, Nick got hurt as well for a little bit, but he can fill in and get you 8, 9, 10 rebounds. He's a big dude. Day'Ron Sharpe is not like 7 feet tall, but he's like probably heftier. I'm trying to find the right words. Like, he's a bigger body and carries more weight and is a little bit more of a bully than probably any of the guys we mentioned in terms of throwing his weight around. And there's an element that the Lakers could just use that. Somebody like Isaiah Stewart.
That'd be interesting.
I don't think he's available. That would be fun. But like somebody like him, who is he doesn't shoot the ball very well this year, doesn't score a lot, but is like that bully. So maybe a cheaper version of that might be Day'Ron Sharpe. So, they just made a deal with Brooklyn and he wasn't in it. So that suggests that maybe the Lakers don't view him as a top priority, or otherwise they would have found a way to work him in. But that didn't happen. So, but yeah, that's like the list, and I'm sure we could find some others. And then one concern I have is why we brought in Sexton into this is, Austin is, I think, doing really well, but I think there's also the potential that when teams in the playoffs start to really target him, it's just a new experience. He against the Grizzlies, he went nuts. and then they had to kind of shift how they played him. But
there's a lot on Austin's
the reality
plate. There's a lot on Austin's
yes,
plate.
and
right
and
now.
I think he can handle it, but I also think to say that he's going to handle it flawlessly is optimistic.
Yes,
right.
I agree.
And so
I have concerns
having
there's too
someone,
much on his plate.
Yeah. So I would say that like having someone, and the thing is, Sexton is not a point guard. He's a scorer who can pass.
Mm-hmm.
He's like a 3.3, 3.6 assists a game guy in his career, but it's somebody who can absolutely bring up the ball, get you into your offense. You're not getting like Chris Paul, Rajon Rondo type traditional floor general point guards, but you are getting somebody who's young still and can still he can help relieve that pressure. Problem is that if you lose Vincent in that, you have no one to guard that position, and that's already an issue. If you saw any of the last week or so where they've struggled, when they've struggled, a lot of it is both in rebounding and Jared Allenness, and then at the guard position playing defense. So there are issues I don't know if they can solve all in one. And in the absence of that, maybe you just go with the best that you can do. And if they think it works, then maybe they go all in. And if not, then, maybe you're just custodying the last few years of LeBron's career and celebrating that like they did with Kobe without actually trying to win. But that's not the sense I get. And that's why they went and got Dorian Finney-Smith, that they would really like to win. They're not just playing just to get a participation ribbon. And I think they do want to improve and win. I don't know if all fans believe that if you go by social media. I do think that I don't know if they know how, and I don't know if they can, but I think that there is a pathway to improving the team. It just might be sacrificing a little too much of the future, and I don't know if they care if they sacrifice too much of the future. I don't know if that's a priority as much for the Lakers as a franchise as it is the fans who get tied up with the mystery box of what a draft pick might be in 7 years, which, you have a chance to win with LeBron right now. Potentially, maybe you don't care about that pick 7 years down the line.
He is Eric Pincus. He is an NBA cap guru, the GM of Sports Business Classroom, where you can learn all about this new complicated CBA. He is also a writer at Bleacher Report. He's covered the league and the Lakers for a couple decades now. You can read his piece that is up right now on Bleacher Report about the idea, a concept of a trade where the Lakers could land both Walker Kessler and Colin Sexton from the Jazz. Appreciate the time, brother. Thank you very much.
Anytime. We'll talk soon. See you at the game soon.
Yep, absolutely, man. Again, Eric Pincus from Bleacher Report. Coming up next, we're going to do a little crunch time with Funchy and DeAndre. That is next, but want to let people know whether you are heading to the arena to cheer on the Lakers or going to watch the game at a friend's house, commit to the Go Safely game plan. If you plan to drink, plan ahead, leave the keys behind, get a sober designated driver. Whatever you do, don't let yourself or your friends land a technical foul by driving impaired. Even the slightest impairment can hinder your ability to drive safely. Celebrate a sober ride home. It's always a win. Don't let friends or yourself drive drunk. Go Safely California from the California Office of Traffic Safety and Caltrans, 710 ESPN.
Hey guys, it's Cappy. You've heard me talk about my personal situation with my divorce and subsequent custody battle in the past, and I know that you need a team behind you to get the justice you deserve. My friend Mark Reel and his team at Real Fathers Rights are here to help you guys. Visit realfathersrights.com/710. That's REEL, realfathersrights.com/710, or call 323-870-1611. That's 323-870-1611. Real Fathers Rights, the Father's Rights Attorneys.
Hey, LA, let's talk trash. Food waste, that is. Tossing your food scraps in the regular trash sends them to landfills where they release harmful gases like methane. Fight global warming by simply sorting your food scraps and placing them in your green bin. It's quick, it's easy, it helps protect our planet. Ready to do your part? Visit cleanla.com or call 888-CLEAN-LA for more tips. This message funded by Cal Recycle.
Texting enroll
enrolls you in recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Leaving for the gym so early?
I'm ready to go.
Since you started taking Nugenix Total T, you've been acting like when we met in our 20s.
I feel like myself again. Lower testosterone after turning 40 slowed me down. Nugenix Total T has been a game changer for me.
What is it about Nugenix Total T that's different?
It's a key ingredient called Tesnor. It boosts free and total testosterone to help you get back the drive and energy from your youth. Total T is backed by 5 clinical studies.
I've seen the huge difference it's made for you in the gym, at work, and in the bedroom.
I'm so glad I sent them a text for my complimentary bottle. Text HUNK to 321321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. Nugenix is the #1 selling testosterone boosting brand at GNC and Walmart. Do it now, and we'll also send you a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever. Absolutely free. Text HUNK to 321321. That's HUNK to 321321.
Is your vehicle due for service? Is it time to get those wipers replaced? If so, head into your neighborhood Valvoline Instant Oil Change, home of the 15-minute drive-through oil change. For over 30 years, Valvoline has provided quick and convenient automotive maintenance services for busy people just like you. At Valvoline, you stay in your car safe while the expert technicians make sure your ride is at its best. Oil changes, wiper blades, and more. Just pull up, drive in, and drive out in about 15 minutes. Visit SoCalOilChange.com for locations and game-winning coupons off of your next Valvoline Instant Oil Change.
It is playoff time, and it is now or never. Don't miss out on the last few weeks of football action with Prize Picks, the best place to win cash while watching the playoffs. You know, we have over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings. Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to everybody. All you got to do is pick 2 or more players across any sport, pick more or less on their projection, and you can win up to 1,000 times your money. Prize Picks now offers MasterCard for quick and easy deposits into your account this sports season. Join Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app, available to play in more than 40 states, including California and Texas. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use the code CAPPY, K-A-P-P-Y. Get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code CAPPY on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
It's crunch time on Lakers Talk.
When the clock is ticking and it's all coming down to the wire, you know what that means.
This is crunch time.
All right, as always, we close out Lakers Talk. And thanks again to Eric Pincus from Bleacher Report for joining us just there. We close out with a little crunch time NBA topics around the league, led by Funchy. DeAndre and I will chime in. What you got for us?
Hey, man, how was your New Year's? Low-key?
Very mellow. Extremely mellow.
No parties? No. Just blowout?
Nope. I was
hanging out till 5 a.m. on a Hollywood strip?
Nope. I was at home monitoring my daughter and her friend having a sleepover. Or by monitoring, I really mean just making sure that they weren't sneaking out of the house or something. I mean, which they weren't. They're good kids. They were largely just hanging out. I also watched the Laker game. Remember, they played that night. So,
I can tell you, I worked that night. So
right.
Yeah.
So I didn't do much. Watched an episode of Squid Game after that. And I'm one episode away from the finale, so do not say.
Is this season 2? I mean, yes. I've never watched it yet.
Season 2, they pulled an evil trick. Where it is, I didn't realize this going into it. It's only 7 episodes.
That's right.
It's like they're doing like the Cobra Kai.
Oh my God! Don't tell me about Cobra Kai, man, because I'm so disappointed in that.
That show has, frankly, outworn its welcome.
Yeah, that
at this
too,
point.
and just the fact that they're breaking it up in like 3 different parts for the last season.
I mean,
come on, man.
That show, it started out great, and now it's just like conflict for the sake of conflict.
And they're like just bringing back people, like random people you didn't even know.
And like the kids are like fighting for
one
no
guy that had
particular
one
reason.
scene in Karate Kid 2, they brought him back.
Daniel and Johnny like can't not fight because otherwise there'd be no plot. Like it's gotten ridiculous.
All right,
Squid Game has been great.
It's good, right? I enjoyed the second season.
I'm not done yet. I got one more episode. I got one more, but so far it's been awesome.
Good. I told people Squid Game is good.
Maybe I need to get into that right now.
Oh, have you never watched it?
I've never watched it.
It's good.
No. And you know what?
Really
the subtitles don't scare me because I watch most things in subtitles anyway. But yeah,
it's really good.
Okay, all right. Maybe I will put it on the fun to watch list. The Detroit Pistons. I know we were talking about the Cleveland Cavs earlier, and we'll get to them in a little bit, but the Detroit Pistons are hot right now. Won 7 out of 8. Since Christmas, they've been 4 of 1. I think 4 and 1, actually. And we're going to play a little pretender.
They're on a 4-game winning streak
yes,
right now.
A pretender or contender, Detroit Pistons.
I mean, what's your definition of contender?
Let's say the ceiling for them is like just making the playoffs.
If that's the case, then contender. I right now they are an 8th seed. You know, the Miami Heat, depending on what happens with the Jimmy Butler saga, those guys could start sinking. The Bucks, after looking like they had righted the ship, have been very up and down since then. The Pacers are winning right now, but who knows what they're going to look like in a couple weeks. They've been really up and down. The Pistons have been continually moving in the right direction this season. Cade Cunningham, that dude
really
is
good.
a stud.
Wow. Really well.
He is good.
You know what? When he came out of college, I didn't think he was going to be this good in the NBA.
He is good. I mean, they just lost Jaden Ivey to a broken leg.
Yeah, I hate that.
So I don't know how much, but I mean, DeAndre, they look good to me.
They do look good. They're well coached too, obviously with Bickerstaff coming over there. But I mean, they're 18-18 right now. I just checked right now, 18-18. If they were to play in the play-in against the Pacers, I feel like the Pistons could win that game, man. It's not crazy to think that they can win that game and make it to the playoffs.
They're 18-18. They won 14 games last year.
Exactly. So they already overachieving.
Yeah, we're less than halfway through the season, and they've already won 4 games more than last year. Like, 2 Laker losses to them doesn't look terrible anymore.
Like, they play hard.
Yes.
They play like legit. Like the NBA, like, the guys don't play hard enough. No, like this team. That's why they have the edge in some games, because they just go out there and they just play hard.
Yes, they do.
And they got the young guns, like the young legs to do it too. Like I guess they've had first-round draft picks for the last 10 years. So yeah,
Jalen Duren's another good player too.
Yeah.
Man.
Sneaky good.
They got guys that come in and do their part too. They got good role players as well.
Yeah, they also got the other Thompson boy out there too.
Sar.
Yep. No, they're good, man. Shout out to them. They're doing a nice job.
We're gonna move on to the Cavs, who is they have one of the best 35-game starts in NBA history. Just in front of them are like the 96 Bulls and the 2016 Warriors. So, you know, pretender or contender? Are they really going to make the NBA Finals?
They damn well could.
Like, you really think they can challenge Boston?
Yes. Like, put this in perspective. You know, the Lakers lost 122 to 110 to Cleveland a couple weeks ago. Cleveland averages 122 points a game, and they allow, on average, 110.7. So that was basically just a day at the office for Cleveland. Like, their point differential is almost plus 12. Like, they have been beating the crap out of teams all season. They do it in ways that don't look fluky. They're really consistent. They move the ball really well. Kenny Atkinson has figured out ways to blend Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland, or Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen, in ways that weren't happening last season. Like, they are really
Their top
good.
7 is really good. Their top 7 players.
They're
really good.
I didn't think Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen will mix well together. Just because how the team is structured, obviously last year. But it's crazy that it's the same team as last year when you really think about it.
Yeah.
But JJ Redick said it himself, like, you damn near have to play perfect against the Cavs.
You do.
You damn near have to play perfect.
They're good. So absolutely, to me, contender. Yep.
All right. Jeez.
They have lost 4 times this season.
That's unbelievable. Unbelievable. And also, we got some, it was breaking news like a few hours ago. Kyrie Irving's going to be out 1 to 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
We play him tomorrow. It's just a bad break for the Mavs, Andy.
Yeah, I mean, of course it is. Like,
is this going to put him out the top 4, the top 5?
It depends on how long Kyrie's actually out, and it also really depends on how long Luka's out.
He's out for 1 to 2 weeks.
1 to 2 weeks for Kyrie. It could be a month for Luka.
Well, it's expected, but it's not guaranteed he's going to be back in 1 to 2 weeks. And I'd mentioned before, they are 0-3 this season in games that Luka and Kyrie both don't play in. Like, it's very important that the Lakers don't turn that into 1-3.